This video demonstrates how to control the loan amortization schedule using TI-84 plus finance functions. Suppose we borrow 8,000 today and we are charged for 9% annual interest rate, and we need to make the same amount payment at end of each year for 4 years. Therefore, in this loan amortization schedule example, 8,000 is the loan amount, 9% is the annual interest rate, and there are 4 years of repayment. First of all, we need to find the same amount payment for each year. So that's the loan payment for each year. So we press APPS, and then we choose number 1 finance, and then we choose number 1 TV and solver. And there are 4 years, so therefore the n equal to 4, so we change to 4. And then the interest rate equal to 9% compound annually. So the I percent should be equal to 9. So we change to 9, which means 9%. And PV is the present value. That's how much money we borrow today. So we borrow 8,000 today, so we change to 8,000. And then before we compute the same amount of payment for each year, we need to input the number for the FV future value. Since in this case there is no future value, so we change the future value to 0. And then we arrow up to the P&T, and then we press alpha and enter, which means solve the P&T. So it will show us negative 2,469.35 if we round to 2 decimal places. And the sign of the PV and sign of the P&T should be opposite. So therefore, if we want to make the P&T positive, we need to arrow up and change the sign of the PV to negative. So we change the PV to negative 8,000. And then we arrow down. And then we press alpha and enter to solve the P&T again. So this time we will see the P&T become positive, which is 2,469.35. So this is the same amount of loan payment for each year. So we fill in the same number from year 1 through year 4. And then we can continue to compute the interest payment for the first year. So we press second and quit to go back to the original screen. And then we press APPS and choose number 1 finance. And then we arrow down the cursor. And then we see A choice is sigma int. Sigma, which means summation, int, which means interest payment. So sigma int, which means the sum of interest payment. So we choose A. And then we need to input 2 numbers in this syntax. So if we just want to find the first year interest payment, so the beginning year equal to 1, and comma, the ending year still equal to 1, and the right parentheses, and then you press enter. So you'll get 720. So that's the first year interest payment. To find the principal payment for the first year, and then we press APPS again, and then we choose number 1 finance, and then we arrow down the cursor. So we see 0 choice, sigma PRN, which means principal payment. So sigma PRN, that means the sum of the principal payment. So we choose this 0 choice. And then again, if we just want to find the first year principal payment, and the beginning year is 1, and comma, the ending year still equal to 1, and the right parentheses, and press enter. So we will get 1,749.35 if we round to 2 decimal places. And then to find the ending principal for the first year, we press ABPS. And then we choose number 1 finance. And then we arrow down our cursor. And we will see number 9 choice, the BAL. BAL means balance. So that means the ending balance, ending principal. So we make this choice. And then we just need to input one number. So we just input 1. So that means the ending balance of year 1. And press enter. So we will get negative 6,250.65 if we round to 2 decimal places. So that means the ending principal for the first year equal to 6,250.65. And then we can continue doing the interest payment, principal payment, ending principal for the second year. So what you need to do is you just change the beginning year to 2, the ending year to 2. Okay, for the sigma int and the sigma PRN. And for the BAL, you just change to 2. So then you can find the ending principal for the second year. And actually, okay, the interest payment, okay, for each year equal to the beginning principal, the column 1, times the interest rate, 9%. So if you want to find the interest payment for each year, and then you use the beginning principal in column 1 times 9%. And the beginning principal for the first year should be go to the loan amount. So we borrow 8,000 today. So the beginning principal for the first year should go to 8,000. And then the loan payment column 2 equal to the interest payment column 3 plus the principal payment column 4. So therefore, if we want to find the principal payment manually, and what we can do is we use the loan payment, the column 2 for each year, subtract the interest payment, column 3 for each year, and then we'll get the column 4 for each year. And the ending principal for each year will be the beginning principal for each year. So that's column 1 number. Subtract the principal payment for each year. So that's column 4 number. And then you will get the ending principal for each year. And once we find the ending principal for the first year, and then you just copy this number to the beginning principal for the second year, because the ending principal for the first year will be the beginning principal for the second year. And then you repeat the same process, and then you can fill in all the number for the second year. And similarly, the ending principal for the second year will become the beginning principal for the third year. And then you follow the same process, okay, either manually using the formula or using the calculator function that you can fill in all the number. And then similarly, the year 4, you follow the same process. So by the end of year 4, the ending principal should be equal to 0. Okay. And if we want to find the interest payment and principal payment for more than 1 year, for example, we want to find the interest payment and principal payment for the first 2 years. So that means from year 1 to year 2. And then we can use the finance function. So we press ABPS, and then we choose number 1 finance. And then we remember, okay, the A choice, the sigma int. So if we don't want to arrow down and choose A, we can directly choose A by press alpha and press mass. So we will choose A and directly go to the sigma int. So we want to know the first 2 year interest payment. So that means from year 1 to year 2. So the beginning year is 1, and comma, the ending year is 2, and right parentheses, and press enter. So we will get 1,282.56 if we round to 2 decimal places. So actually this number 1,282.56 equal to the first year interest payment 720 plus the second year interest payment 462.56. Similarly, we want to find the principal payment for the first 2 years from year 1 to year 2. So we press ABBS and choose number 1 finance. And then we remember the sigma, okay? PRN is on the choice 0. So if we don't want to arrow down and choose 0, we can directly press 0. So we will see the sigma PRN appears. So we input 1 and the comma and the 2, right parentheses. So that means from year 1 to year 2, and then enter. So we will get 3,656.14 if we round to 2 decimal places. So this 3,656.14 is equal to the year 1 principal payment 1,749.35 plus the second year principal payment 1,906.79. And we can also compute all the interest payment from year 1 through year 4. So again, we press ABBS and we choose number 1 finance. And then we press alpha and the max. And we will see sigma int, and then we input 1. So the beginning year is 1, and comma 4. The ending year is 4. So that means from year 1 through year 4. And press enter. So we will get 1,877.40. So that means that's the total interest payment from year 1 through year 4. So if you add those 4 numbers vertically, so you can get 1,877.40. And similarly, we want to find all the principal payment. Okay, so that's ABBS number 1 finance. And we choose 0 choice. Okay. And then 1 beginning year, comma 4 ending year, and right parentheses, and enter. So you can see that's 8,000. So that means if you add all the principal payment vertically, so that's equal to 8,000. So this 8,000 represent the loan amount. Okay, that's how much money we borrow at beginning. So that means by the end of year 4, the ending principal should be equal to 0. So that means okay, by the end of year 4, all the principal payment has been paid. So hopefully this video can help you better understand how to control the loan amortization schedule. This concludes the presentation.